Absolutely.
Absolutely. Okay, guys, this is the Elder Scrolls Online Podcast number 3. Today, we will be talking about crafting, cross-faction guilds, and a couple of other miscellaneous topics and stuff that we kind of dug up this past week. So, again,
we're going to have a lot of news for the next episode, Deagen.
Yeah, for stuff that you found out this week, or finding out today, I guess, watching videos later.
Well, there's no ESO videos, but tomorrow, Thursday, yeah, there's going to be a ton of stuff. Or videos that come out right after this podcast is over. We're going to get a bunch
definitely. But again, I'm Deagen, and we have Soma here as well. So I think we're going to dive right in. Okay, so let's talk about crafting. Let's talk about crafting in this game. When I have played MMOs historically in the past, I tend to be the guy that I like crafting. I don't know why. I like doing it. I don't like going out and gathering my own stuff.
You're an AH crafter.
Oh yeah, dude. I ran the auction house on my WoW server. Like, I had like 400 auctions up all the time. I would log on and have like just thousands of gold in there. Like, I'd be like, all right, let's go let's craft. But yeah, I don't know. I think though with an Elder Scrolls game, I'm gonna actually enjoy going out and gathering stuff for my crafting.
You know, I'm the complete opposite. I've never been into gathering or crafting in any game ever. Not even Skyrim, not even Oblivion, not even, well, Morrowind kind of.
Yeah.
Definitely not WoW. I was that guy that would PvE and PvP a buttload and sell all the gear that I found from my questing to make my money, but I would never craft.
Yeah.
Ever. I just wasn't. I'd rather go out and kill shit. I was that like, I'm gonna be a warrior, go kill stuff, huh?
I'm gonna be a warrior.
I'm not no crafter. And I was all about action, and I never really gathered or crafted. In this game, because it doesn't seem like there's gonna be a lot of, okay, let's make armors and try to sell them to people, and like you're making like think World of Warcraft, whenever you have to make like 20 leather belts or something like that to level up or whatever. In this game, I don't really think it's going to be like that. I think it's going to be a little more streamlined, and it's just upgrades for gear instead of actually making items. So I feel like maybe I'll get into it. I was into enchanting kind of in Skyrim just because it made you so much money. And it was strong.
It was cheating. You're a cheater.
You
got the dagger of banishment and put that on all the iron daggers and made an iron dagger for like 40 gold and resold it for like 3,500.
It's so broken.
It is broken.
Broken. Yeah.
Have they confirmed an auction house in Elder Scrolls Online? I would assume it will have some sort of auction house. I don't know what it's going to be, but there's got to be something. I mean, if you're going to have crafting in there's got to be a way for people to sell their crafting. So
there's gonna have to be an economy of some kind.
Yeah,
and it can't be so player driven that it's just people trading in towns. It's never going to be like that. I mean, people will be trading. Obviously, there's going to be trade channels, but there needs to be one big consolidated market. So I'm assuming there's going to be an auction.
Yeah.
That'd be cool if there was like a cross-faction auction house, so people can get their crafting items from Aldmeri, Ebonheart, and Daggerfall folks, no matter what faction they're in. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, I don't know how that's going to work. That's actually a good point, because I never even thought about that with the different factions, and how the auction house will work between them. Well,
Booty Bay.
The Booty Bay, yeah. Screw that place, man.
House.
I always gang people there and then had the guards chase me out into the water, and it's just like, no, leave me alone.
Totally. Those little bastard goblins had great nets, too.
I know! What the heck? They never miss either. What a bunch of bastards. Okay, so let's go over the different actual crafting things we have here. So we've got Provisioner. We've got Weaponsmith. Armorer, Alchemist, Enchanters, I guess. So, let's go over Provisioners and what we think that's all going to entail and how useful that's going to be. So, Provisioner to me sounds like it's going to be crafting, obviously, consumables and stuff like that, and buffs, maybe self-buffs. I don't really know, though, outside of that. I mean, obviously, Provisioner, if you think about how it's been in MMOs historically and how the self buffs are so good, or some are just like so bad. So I guess it's going to be how they balance it and how it all works out. But it could be nice. I don't think I personally will go Provisioner. I'll let somebody else do that stuff, and I'll be the flashy one. But I don't know. Seems like a lot of gathering would be included in the Provisioner.
Yeah, it's gonna be, in my opinion, I think that, and this is speculation, I don't really know. I think it's gonna be similar to alchemy, in where whenever you're constructing something, let's say you want to make a steak with berries on it or something like that in ESO, right?
That sounds powerful.
You're gonna take the items that you've gathered, so a steak, raw meat or whatever, and then some berries, and then like a third ingredient or whatever.
Right.
And you're gonna mix them together at
Salt.
a cooking fire or whatever, salt, sure, at a cooking fire, and the 3 ingredients that you've added together will form some kind of buff that buffs your stats based on the ingredients that you used. So let's say you make a steak that doesn't have berries on it, but it has like gravy and potatoes on it instead, or something like that. Eating that instead of the berry steak.
You're making me really hungry.
Buffs. Yeah, I mean, I'm starving. I'm really hungry. I'm eating after the podcast, to be honest. But yeah, I feel like provisioners will be gathering food and ingredients and whatnot, finding recipes, and then combining the food at a cook fire or something like that. And based on what ingredients they put together or what recipe they followed, they'll get certain stat buffs or certain party buffs or whatnot based on, or like imagine if a provisioner could make like a grand feast, kind of like a mage table, and then put it out, and then everyone can eat it, and they get, more health and stamina or something like that.
Right. That's one of the things that, is going to be interesting to see how they do it, because will you be able to sell your crafted things on the auction house, and will people be able to use those? Because I know in WoW they had things you could create, but then only like if you have this crafting at this level, could use that thing. So I'm wondering how they're going to do that with the consumables. Obviously there's probably going to be some pretty strong buffs that you get from them, but I
hope so.
Will at some point will you say, the benefit to leveling Provisioner is going to be you get a little bit more powerful buffs that you can use on yourself that you cannot sell?
Self buffs, yeah, absolutely.
I would assume they would probably have something like that. That seems to be the best way to do it, because otherwise, what's the point of leveling Provisioner besides just, obviously you could make a lot of gold selling provisions, right? Everybody, when you're rating, is like, all right, do you have your flasks? In the words of Floud Mike, for those that know.
I'm telling you right now, I think the Provisioner is going to shock everybody. I think everyone's going to talk shit about the cook. And then endgame, the cook's going to be like, I just cooked a skeever pot pie, and now I have plus infinity strength, and I'm going to fucking kill all of you. Like, I think the Provisioner is going to shock everybody, and it's going to be some completely badass edible goodness.
Oh, I'm sure there's going to be some awesome buffs.
Yeah, I think it's going to be cool.
I want a movement speed buff.
Me too.
I want one that
glitched
boosts
in Skyrim where you would run super fast and you have no idea why.
What? No, I've never seen that glitch. Sounds awesome.
There was a glitch where sometimes you would like eat ingredient or like jump and hit a rock weird, and then when you landed, your character would be like 3 times faster than it was before, and you're just like running around like chopping people and they can't even hit you because you're so fast. I want that.
Yeah, that sounds fantastic. I'll take that too. I'll have what he's having. Yes, of course.
Skooma brownies that deplete my stamina and make me not want to play. But also taste good.
Yeah, they have to taste good. Shoot. No, I think Provisioner should be cool. All right, I think we covered that.
I'll be doing personally.
You really, if you had to choose right now, you would be a Provisioner?
Yeah.
Really? No. No, I was gonna say, because that is not for me. No, screw that. I feel like if you're gonna do a Provisioner, you better get used to gathering a lot of stuff. So, no, thank you. All right, let's talk about Weaponsmith. Okay, this is something that maybe I haven't done as much research on as I probably should have. But as far as crafting goes, you're not necessarily creating new items. You're more or less you're taking an item that's already there and adding something to it. Correct?
Right.
So the reason they're doing something like that instead of creating new items is to make it so you never become outdated as far as crafting goes. So even the best weapon that drops in some sort of adventure zone while you're doing that, you can always have it improved by either yourself if you're a weaponsmith or by another weaponsmith. So I actually think that's really cool, but at the same time, I still hope that I can create stuff. I hope there's some sort of like, okay, you've reached level 300 weaponsmith. Now you can create the Sword of Badassery or whatever that smite stuff. You know, like that's what I want. I want like a unique looking sword that I can craft or something.
Well, what if it's not necessarily a unique... Well, if you can make that unique looking sword, then everyone else will be able to craft it too. So what if
only
instead you, based on how you craft and how you upgrade your weapon or whatever, what if it changes the way it looks based on how you craft it instead? So you have a cool sword you found by chance in the game world, but as a crafter, you get to make it look unique because you're the crafter that got to change it because it's your item.
Well, let's talk about that, because that is an interesting thing, and there's an MMO out right now called Neverwinter that I've played quite a bit of recently, and they actually have somewhat of a similar thing, where you could find a level 16 sword that just has like a really unique look to it, but you can actually take that item and transfer its appearance onto a high level item and change the appearance but keep the stats of the high level item.
Awesome.
Yeah, I
That's
think
great.
it is great. It's a really cool idea that I mean I haven't really experienced before in an MMO. So if there was something like that where I could you know, change the appearance, I could make it look like a wooden stick if I wanted to. This like level 5 wooden stick that I have, you know, that I found that I transfer onto my, you know, level 50 epic weapon.
Can you imagine that? Like you just swap it, like the best sword stats in the game to a wooden training sword, and you just wreck shop.
Wouldn't that be great? That'd be so funny. I think that would be perfect.
That'd be amazing. I would do it.
So
I would absolutely do it.
Yeah. As long as they allow the weaponsmiths to have some sort of unique something that they can craft, and then, you know, obviously the upgrading of the weapons that are already there, I'd be happy with it. I'm thinking I might go weaponsmith. I'm either gonna go focus on weaponsmith or armorsmith, because that's, I mean, I'm an orc, okay? I have to. Like,
you're gonna have to go.
That would be, it would be, you know, treason if I didn't. It would just be bad. They'd cut my hands off. Or something like that.
I'm probably going to go enchanter, to be honest. I mean, I like the idea of armor and weaponsmith, you know, affecting what you wear and what you're wielding. I like that. But enchanting, you can buff not only your weapons, but your armor too, and whatever. You can enchant and weapons. So I think that's for an all-around... But of course, you can throw an enchant on a weaponsmithed weapon too. So I mean, it's like double the buffs, right?
Right.
I would rather enchant so that I can benefit both weapon wielders and armor wearers, you know. So I'm not just pigeonholed into only buffing weapons. I'm assuming though that weapon buffs from weaponsmithing will be really powerful, whereas a buff from an enchanter on a weapon would be maybe more all-purpose or a little weaker than a weapon buff, but it's still a buff, not the same, you know?
Definitely.
But, yeah.
For sure. That's actually something that we should, I guess, talk about, too, before we keep diving more into the actual different crafting trees you can go into. In the beginning, you get crafting points, and you can choose where to allot those points. You can go all into one, you can go half into this one, half into that one, you can go a little bit into all of them. It doesn't matter. Obviously, the more points you have in one of them, the higher level you can do with whatever is in that crafting tree. Now, I don't know if I want to focus on one thing. I think I would probably do two. I think I would split it up. It would either be weaponsmithing or armorsmithing for sure, and then I think that I would probably do enchanting. I don't really know how armor works either. Now, that is like an actual crafting thing that you can do. Now, that seems kind of weird to me. Because armoring for me in past Elder Scrolls was, okay, you use a repair hammer, you repair your gear. Now, how much can you actually do with armoring to make it worth people leveling? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true.
Like, I saw this earlier, and I was thinking to myself, armoring. What all can you do with armoring? Maybe, like, appearance changes? I have no idea.
In terms of just buffing your own armor or other people's?
I don't know, like maybe adding some sort of accessory to your gear that makes it look unique or different. I don't really know. It's just a little bit weird for me to think about it. As far as coming from, past Elder Scrolls games, armoring has always been quite a simple thing. All it does is repair your armor.
Dink. Dink.
Exactly.
Dink.
Yeah. So I don't know how they're going to go with that, and that's interesting to me to see what exactly you'll be able to do with it.
I think if I had to pick two, and I probably would pick two because just the way the point system works,
right.
I would be a master enchanter. Probably provisioner. Probably provisioner.
You just told me you weren't.
Hungry. I know, but now that there's two, now that I'm thinking about it, people are gonna get hungry in the battlefield, Deagen.
I'm always hungry.
Snacks.
I'm always hungry.
I'm hungry right now. I wish I was a provisioner right now. I would take a level 5 sweet roll and shove it inside me because I'm really hungry.
Now, this is another something that we should discuss. So you have a provisioner, but you also have an alchemist. So,
right.
How do they interact with each other?
That's kind of, earlier when I was talking about provisioner, they have to find ingredients and they'll cook something and the food buff will be based on the ingredients. That's how alchemy works. So is it the same frickin', is it the same job pretty much? Is it the same profession?
I know, it's going to be weird. Maybe alchemy is just like if you level up alchemy, you have a higher chance to, gather more items when you, I don't know.
Well, what about this? What if being a provisioner creates buffs that last a long time and are overall stat buffs or something like that? And alchemy is more of like a short term, heal up, get your magicka back, boost your overall damage for 5 minutes by 50%, or you take a potion that has a 50% chance of reducing crowd control effects on you for 30 minutes or something like that. I'm sure that it's going to be similar in terms of how you collect ingredients and then make the finished product. But I think the way the buffs, in terms of duration and type of buff, will differ greatly, and that's how they're gonna differentiate.
I think as far as the whole crafting goes with me, the two biggest question marks I have that I'm most interested in seeing when it's released is how armoring works, and what is the main difference between alchemist and provisioner. I think those are the two things that interest me the most with the whole crafting things. How's that going to work out? We'll never know.
I know one thing: if whoever is the provisioner / alchemist combo for professions, it's gonna be one buffed asshole.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Weapon and armor. I'm just gonna cook and drink crap. That's great. That's a good idea.
Screw that. They're going to walk around naked and you're going to think they're weak, but then you hit them and they've got plus 9,000 armor, but you can't see it because they're naked.
Dude, provisioners are going to be our best friends, I'm telling you. Hey, provisioner, make me some meat with juniper berries. He's going to fucking get that crap right up for me. It's going to give me 1,000 health.
1,000 health. No, that's going to be cool. And then, we've pretty much talked about weaponsmith and armor. I think is how that works, sure. It's pretty straightforward. Well, armor is obviously more of your armor, your gear. Weaponsmith is more of your weapons, but as far as how that's going to interact with each other, we'll see. And then we haven't really talked about enchanter, but I think that's pretty straightforward is how enchanting goes. We don't know what enchantments are going to be available for people to put on gear, but
I'm guessing fortify health, fortify stamina, regeneration, whatnot, because you regenerate stamina and magicka and health in combat, and apparently you generate the crap kind of fast. I'm not talking like Skyrim style where you get out of combat, you live barely, and then you slowly regen. I mean, your bar is moving back up as you're playing. That's what I hear, and I don't know how I feel about that.
Well, we don't know how much your abilities cost either. So if you're like using one ability and it's like dropping down to nothing, it depends on how much the abilities cost.
Well, I'm assuming enchanting is going to affect stats like that, like generation or health or stuff like that.
Right.
Whereas weaponsmithing would add, damage buffs, and then armor smithing would add. Well, no, actually, I have no idea how they're going to do it. It should be interesting. I mean, it's all speculation right now. I'm assuming that none of the professions are going to be too similar, though, or else no one would pick one of them. They would always pick the same couple.
Right.
So let's just hope that they have a diverse set.
Well, right now, it's going to be... The only thing that I really hope is exactly what you just said, that they're very different, but I also don't want one of them to be like, okay, well, if you don't roll this, you're stupid. Like when jewel crafting came out and WoW, it was like, why would you not go jewel crafting? You can have an extra slot in every piece of gear, and, it... So it just... I don't know. I hope they're somewhat balanced. I know when games get released, there's always something that isn't imbalanced, but I hope it's close, at least. I hope if I go, like, weaponsmith and... armor smith or whatever, that I am not just blown away by, oh, you didn't go enchanting and provisioner, you're a douche.
Right.
So we'll see.
And what about people that don't want to do any professions, though? End game? Are people going to be like, you didn't level up your armor smithing and provisioning? Get out of the guild, douche. You're not helping. Like, I hope it's not like that. Like, what if people don't, like, what if I decide...
Well, there's people that don't want to do that. I mean,
I know, like me.
There's people that don't like crafting.
I just like to show up for the DPS.
Well, the problem is right now is we don't know how you necessarily level. We kind of already talked about that. We don't know. You have your initial, like, points that you put into your crafting, but we don't know how you level it past that. Is it just, okay, you have to sit here and spend 30 minutes crafting this? Or, I mean, is it something you can say, okay, I want this craft, and then you can walk away and do something else? Is it... Like, we don't know how their interface is set up to run that or how they're planning on doing it, so that's going to be interesting. If it's easy and I can be like, okay, I open up this window, I click craft this, I have these ingredients, and I can walk away, and 30 minutes later it's done, then it won't be so bad. You can level it while you're doing other stuff. But if you have to sit there and, sit at a workbench and have your guy pound his hammer on the anvil for 20 minutes, like... That might be a different story then. Maybe people will be less turned off to leveling it. So
there was people in WoW, that was their life. They were like, just hanging out in Stormwind making ye old armor for all the players. They didn't give a crap. They were like, what'd you do Saturday night? I banged on the anvil in Stormwind for 8 hours. And
I crafted all night.
And it was awesome and immersive. You're like, wow, I was out killing shit. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I know. It's like, it's going to be interesting to see how they do the crafting system. I mean, I like the idea of crafting, but then when I start to get into it, if it's like boring and it's just so time consuming, then I hate having to sit there while I'm crafting. I don't like that.
That's why SWTOR did it right. In terms of you order your crew to do. I thought the crafting in SWTOR, while it was still kind of boring, I loved the mechanic though. It was
their interface for it was really well done too.
Yeah, hey slave, go make this blaster in the ship while I go, have fun with the game. And they did. They listened.
And what was awesome. Also great about that was they actually had like the crafting missions that you could get. Like
that was cool.
Like the discovery missions, crafting missions, and that was really cool. Like say you needed like some special rare item. If you found a crafting mission, you could send them out on the crafting mission. You didn't have a guaranteed chance at something, but it was a greater chance.
It was still cool. I love that. Was cool. I think that was my favorite profession because I sent, probably because it was easy, but because I know it's pathetic, but because I liked the RP element of it. Sort of like I liked whenever my companion came back and told me what happened. Even if he failed, he was like, yeah.
I have failed, master. Please don't kill me.
Yeah, it was like, you failed, but you better have some cool dialogue about why you failed, and I won't hurt you. And I like tell you a cool story, and you're like, well, that's kind of cool. The ambassador was thwarted by assassins, so I had to run out before I could grab.
I can't stay mad at you.
Stick of items that you needed.
Yeah, it was good though. It's definitely good. And they also have something similar to that in Neverwinter, where you have all these different crafting items. But that's one thing that I didn't like about Neverwinter is you have these items that give you so you start crafting something, but you have extra items that you can add in that reduce the duration that it costs or takes to craft something. And then like the only way to get those were with in-game or currency, and you're just like, I don't know, it's just too much of a money grab. And while I understand why they do stuff like that, it just bugs me as more. I just didn't like it. So hopefully they have something like that where I don't have to sit there while it's crafting. But if there's like time duration reductions that you have to pay for and stuff, I will probably be upset with that.
Microtransaction at all. But yes, I completely concur with everything you just said.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, Neverwinter Professions they took incredible amount of time to level, and I've played probably 100, 200, 250 hours in Neverwinter already, and holy crap, I'm not like super adamant about going in and checking if my professions are ready to go, but I think my like leadership is my highest, and it's like 15. I think you can get to 20. I'm still not max. It's just
do you play Neverwinter still, or are you done with it?
We've kind of been taking a break for Neverwinter for Marvel Heroes, but Neverwinter's coming up with a really huge patch, adding a lot of new content in on the 20th, so I'm sure we'll go back and mess around with that stuff.
And Neverwinter's been out for people to play for what, 6 weeks now? 8 weeks?
Something like that, yeah.
I'm just thinking to myself, because I know personally a lot of people are already kind of jumping off the Neverwinter bandwagon. They're kind of done being nickeled and dimed. They don't feel like there's enough content, and I get that. That's how games can be sometimes. I'm so scared that that's going to happen to ESO.
Well, I'll tell you right now, there won't be enough content in Elder Scrolls Online. Every MMO that comes out, people are like, there's not enough content, there's not enough content. Well, what are you comparing it to? You're comparing it to WoW, right? WoW has all the content, but WoW's been out for 10 years. But the problem is,
WoW first came out, it was
not
that much content.
See, but that's the problem, though. So everybody says you got to compare it to WoW when WoW came out, but you're not. I mean, Elder Scrolls Online is not up against WoW 10 years ago. It's up against WoW now.
Right.
So
there's a ton of shit.
The whole argument with, oh, WoW didn't have that much stuff when it came out, so you can't be so mad at this. But it doesn't matter. I mean, there's not going to be a ton of content when Elder Scrolls Online comes out. There's just not going to be. So people that are expecting it are probably going to be disappointed. Neverwinter I think is doing it right though. They have this update is really, really big. Like, it's a big patch, and it's only been out for 2 months, a little under 2 months. And I think for them going from where they were at launch to where they are going to be on the 20th is a huge jump. So, I mean, we'll see what happens with Elder Scrolls Online and how much content is out at the beginning, but as long as they give you, even if there's not a lot out right in the beginning, as long as they give me a timeline of when things are going to be coming out and what I can expect, instead of leaving me in the dark as a player in their system, I guess. I want to know. I want to know what's going on with the development. Let me know the timeline.
I don't think we're going to get that because they already keep us in the dark. They won't even tell us their freaking business model. We are so deep in the dark, we're never going to see light again. They don't care.
Oh, I think they care. They're just not. I mean, at the end of the summer with PAX Prime, a lot of the questions that are just completely in the dark right now, all of those are going to be answered. I think PAX Prime is going to be the huge, unveiling, I guess. They've got a lot of work they're still trying to finish up over the summer, so we'll see.
We're going to start hearing stuff tomorrow, Wednesday, and Thursday.
I mean, every week there's new stuff coming out.
Well, it's E3 happening right now, so I guarantee you that this time next week we're going to be talking about a slew of new info. I just hope it's good stuff. I hope it's not like Elder Scrolls Online exclusive news. It's gonna be on PC. Like, yeah, you told us that crap. Give us something new. Like, give us something.
They're gonna just
some like end game content.
They're gonna cover everything that we already know. We're all gonna be pissed next week.
Our big announcement is that we're gonna explain everything we've already told you and not give you any new stuff, so that you're angry at us. And yeah, that's pretty much how it's been going.
No, I'm sure we'll have a lot of new stuff to talk about next week, so it should be really fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
Another one of the big announcements that we had is they have actually confirmed cross-faction guilds. Now, what does this mean? Okay, what does this mean? This means Soma does not have to actually be part of the Daggerfall Covenant, and he can be part of his Aldemarian Dominion or whatever it is.
Whoa, Ebonheart Pact, buddy. Slow it
Slow it down. So that means that Soma doesn't have to actually be there, and he can be a part of our guild, which is still pretty cool. Now, this is also what that means. People were asking, so what happens if you allow cross-faction guilds? Well, aren't they going to, in PvP, are they going to trade keeps? Are they going to do all that stuff? The only problem with that is if I am in one faction and another person in the guild is in another faction, we cannot be in the same PvP campaign. So there's no possible way you can see your buddies in PvP if you do it that way. If he's in the same guild, if he leaves the guild, then it's different. So that definitely works, but at the same time, like, I like the thought of being in a guild with somebody and meeting them in PvP. But you can't.
Yeah, that would be awesome. I think it'd be totally awesome. I'm assuming that for the cross faction guilds, it's going to be you level up with people that are in the same alliance. You get to level 50. Then once you get to level 50, you can do the PvE endgame stuff, like the master dungeons with like an Aldmeri friend as a Daggerfall guy. Right. Or you can like get a group of 24 players. Because if you could only get 24 people, like let's say you get a 24-man group together to do a PvE raid, right. And it's like all Dark Elves, Nords, and Argonians, and your guild has all these Aldmeri and Daggerfall people too. That would suck, first of all, and it would just tear the game apart, I think. So it's great that we can bring all the races together like that. But where are they going to meet? Where is it safe? What guild hall can I see my Aldmeri friends as a Daggerfall guy? Where can I go? And
that's something I don't think they discussed at all.
Not at all. They just confirmed that there's going to be cross-faction guilds. Now, the nuts and bolts of it, the meat and potatoes of that news, we have yet to get. We just have the outer skin. That's all we've really seen. But I'm assuming, obviously, no PvP, but a place where there's got to be some safe zone where players can go to actually hang out with each other and meet up and talk. Yeah. And they've got to allow cross-faction raiding, like endgame 24-man groups. I'm assuming
I'm sure they will.
That's gotta be it.
Why would you allow them to be in the same guild if they can't raid together? So
if it's just the chat channel, like, hey, we're in a guild and it's just the chat channel. I can't actually play with the Daggerfall guys as an Aldmeri Dominion dude. I'm just chatting with them. That would suck and it'd be stupid, and I would just talk to them on Facebook instead or something, you know?
Yeah, why would you ever allow them to be in the same guild if you can't do anything? So.
Right. The whole point is to play with your friends, right? So I'm assuming we're going to be getting some cool news about that soon.
Yeah. But that is actually really cool, and that is a pretty big announcement. So
that's big, yeah. That's really big.
How that all works, and whether or not you're going to be able to meet up with your friend outside of a raid instance or something like that, we don't know.
That's what I'm afraid of. Like, am I not going to be able to see my friend out in the world? Am I only going to be able to see him if I'm summoned to a 24-man dungeon? And then as soon as that's done, like, I'm transported away from him and I can't see him anymore?
Right.
Like, what if I fall in love with a beautiful, high elven sorceress as my dark elf nightblade, and I just want to be with her, but I can only be with her during that 24-man group? What if I want to frolic through the hills of Black Marsh? There's no hills in Black Marsh, it's a marsh. The hills of Cyrodiil. I can't, because she's in a different campaign as me.
You're screwed. You'll have to just hold hands while you guys are raiding, I guess.
I guess. Hey, babe, don't stand in the fire. She's like, yeah, you too. You stand next to each other.
It's always hot when I stand next to you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, this is going way too far. Anyway, yeah, cross-fraction guilds.
Good stuff. Yeah, it's good stuff. All right, one of the other miscellaneous topics we had was someone brought up this mega server questionnaire thing that I hadn't heard about yet. So why don't you explain to them what's going on with that?
Yeah, so whenever you first start playing Elder Scrolls Online, because it's a mega server, one huge giant server, they're like, there's no shards, so you don't have to pick a server and hope that your friends are on it and then transfer to it. Well, he's right, but he's also wrong. It might be a mega server, but there's still shards within that mega server. There's still channels within that mega server, right? Just like in Neverwinter Online, where you can be in a certain phase zone where there's 300 players, and let's say, I don't want to be in this one. I'm going to meet in zone number 13, and then you whisper all your friends, and they all meet you there, right, in zone 13. But it's the same map, the same world, just a different layer, you know?
Right.
So that's how the mega server is going to work in ESO. And when you log into the game and you show up wherever the starting zone, you get a questionnaire. And the questionnaire will say, you know, what is your play style? Are you a soloer? Do you like group play? Do you like huge groups? Are you an RPer? You know, are you an older, mature person? Are you young? Do you like, you know, trash talk and competitive kind of play? Do you know, or do you like guild kind of stuff? Are you a PvPer? After you answer all these questions on the questionnaire, the server information will remember your account's preferences, and when you log into the game, it will make sure to put you in channels and layers in the mega server that have your friends on it, your guild mates, and people that also like to RP, or people that also like to be in big groups. Whatever it is you have put in your preferences, it will try to match you in that, right? So my question is, what happens when a bunch of troll 15-year-olds are like, oh, let's put it that we like to RP so we can go to the RP layers and then just talk shit to everybody and troll? That's going to happen. That's totally going to happen.
I'm not going to lie, I have trolled the RPers before.
Me too.
I like to do that.
It was so fun to troll the RPers. It was great. I'm just saying, is it going to be super fun still to the fact where I'm going to lie in the questionnaire? Gotta go troll. I mean, I personally won't. I'm
now,
years old,
it's not locking you in, right? It's just initially putting you in.
You can change it when you want. If you're like, I don't want to be in the RP layers anymore, you can go in and change the preferences. I just feel like there's room for abuse there.
Oh, there is. There is.
Like,
well, I mean,
that 39-year-old dude is like, I'm mature. I like to solo. But he doesn't actually fill out his questionnaire like that. Instead, he's like, you're a gamer that likes to solo, but I want to be in the younger populated channels and watch all the young kids play. Like, there's going to be some weird shit. Maybe I'm overthinking it.
I think you might be a little.
I'm overthinking it so hard. But still, there's still room for...
I think you might be overthinking just a little bit. You're like thinking of every possible scenario of how people can abuse this mega questionnaire thing.
Attack online.
Oh gosh.
The elder predators.
Yeah, I think it might be overthinking a little bit. I mean, obviously there's room for abuse, but I think all in all, people will probably choose I think they'll probably choose the groups that they want to be with. Obviously, I will probably choose the more mature-ish players. I mean, I like to have fun. I like to joke around too, but at the same time, I don't want to be surrounded by a bunch of, 15-year-old boys. That
totally. I'm going for casual. I want to be in a low-populated areas that's pure folks that are casual, but also like to come together to take down a challenge, like PvE. So casual, endgame, mature people. That's what I'm looking for. But I feel like everyone wants that, right?
Yeah, your mic cut out there for a second, but it came back?
My brand new mic that I just unboxed 10 minutes ago is not working already. How do you know?
You had a cutout for like at least 4 seconds where you were talking and I heard nothing.
What? How does my crap suck? I just bought this thing.
Either way, they're trying to get the game out by 2013. Currently, right now, it's slated to be released later this year. Is kind of what they've been saying, but
so they say.
It could very well be pushed back. I mean, we know how that works. All right, so before we go into the next little subtopic, I see Super Beast actually put in a developer statement. Did you see that in the chat, Soma? Or did you have my chat open?
What you
I can read it to you.
Think about their developer statement. This is more a multiplayer Elder Scrolls game than an MMO. You'll see very limited UI, nice and clean, and not a lot of bars. I will explain. The combat system is very much action-based. It is also soloable. You can solo almost the entire game.
What do you think about that?
That's what the dude that's running the show says. I mean, obviously he's going to be biased and have to say that. Personally, I think it is going to feel like an MMO. I think that it's going to play and feel like an MMO, but with Elder Scrolls Skyrim-style combat. Straight up, with a smaller action bar. It is. You're going to be able to run around and explore, but you're still going to have, like we mentioned in last week's episode, some sort of rail that kind of guides us in our exploration. Because you can't just run wherever you want and explore and solo everything. You're going to eventually get to mobs that outlevel you. So you're going to have to stick to this little area until you level up. And if you want to solo the whole game, well, good luck whenever you're trying to fight a world boss solo. You're going to need 23 people with you, straight up. Good luck going into those 4-man phased dungeons. You're not going to be able to do it. So when he says the whole game is soloable, probably the main quest line, which you have to do solo anyway.
Yeah, you have to do it solo. Yeah.
But all those side quests, PvP, stuff like that, no. You're going to have to be in groups. It's an MMO. Who would buy an MMO to play solo? You'd be an idiot to do that.
Now,
okay, maybe not an idiot. That was a little harsh, but
while I like the fact that he does say the game can pretty much be soloed to an extent, I am also glad that if I want or if I choose to, I can, let's go quest, let's go level with someone else, let's go gather this rare herb, you know what I mean? Like, it just doesn't matter. Like, I like the fact that it feels like Skyrim and the fact that I could solo it if I wanted to, but it also allows me to bring my buddies along. So I think that alone is... I think that's what they're shooting for, right? They want you to make it feel like it's an Elder Scrolls game. They want to hold your hand and make you feel like you're actually playing Elder Scrolls, but they're giving you the option to bring along your buddies now, which is... I'm fine with that. I like it. I don't care if people want to play the game solo. I'm playing it to play with other, have other people with me, but if you want to play it solo, more power to you. Do what you want to do.
Yeah. Keyword almost entirely soloable. That's cool and all. I just don't see it. I don't see it actually ending up like that. Call me a cynic and a negative Nilly, but I kind of feel like it's going to feel more MMO-y than people want. It is going to feel like Elder Scrolls with left click, right click, etc. But when it gets down to it, we're going to jump in the game, we're going to move our characters around in the world, and within a day or two, we're going to feel this feeling right here. Wow, this is an MMO, and I'm grinding. That's the feeling we're gonna get. But as long as they shiny it up, make it look pretty, make that combat feel like the sword is connecting with my enemy, make the lore rich, make the voice acting good. If they do a good job on their end creating the game, I feel like we won't care if we're in an MMO. We won't care if I feel like I'm grinding or killing 10 wolves or something. I won't care. As long as it feels different, as long as I feel like I care about the game world. Like, that's one thing I hated with Neverwinter. I didn't give a shit. I pressed 1 and jammed through all of that content as fast as I could. I just wanted to play. I liked the combat only. I just wanted to hit shit.
Yeah, I didn't care about anything else either.
If I care about the world, and I care about the Elder Scrolls lore, I've been following it for years and years. I like it. If this game sticks true to that Elder Scrolls feeling and I care about the game world, I will be completely immersed, and I won't care that I'm playing an MMO. I will love it.
Right.
But they got to be careful. Careful, because if it feels too generic, too MMO-y, bluff. We have to care about the quests we're on.
Yeah.
Have to. I cared about the quests I was on in Skyrim. I thought it was awesome. I want that same feeling.
Yeah, we'll have to see how it works out. All right. That's a good topic you brought up, Super Beast. All right, the next thing that I have written down is costume slots and what this means. So apparently, you will have costume slots that you will be able to add different appearance items on top of your gear. Not necessarily changing your gear, but changing little appearance things, accessories with your gear. I think Soma knows a little bit more about it, though, so I'll let him explain it.
Yeah, there's going to be costumes and disguises. I believe that costumes are going to be similar to Neverwinter Online's kind of thing, where you can walk into a town and change your appearance for roleplay kind of purposes, I guess. Like, you're not always going to have your armor on, right? Like, who wears their armor for 30 years? No one.
Not me.
They take it off once in a while, right? And I know that that's a hardcore roleplay thing, and 90% of people will probably ignore this feature. But some people want to see their character rocking a leather jerkin and some comfy pants and boots at the end of the day. You know, maybe they don't want to see the heavy plate and the helmet on their character all the time. Me personally, am I going to utilize the costume thing? If I find a cool costume, maybe. If I find purple robes and a crown of vines and velvet red shoes, yeah, I'll rock that costume. That's all. I'll go slut it up in the streets of, I don't know, Imperial City. But in terms of who it's for our peers. And then, of course, disguises. Disguises are for when you're out in the world and you're actually playing. You can throw in a disguise and infiltrate an enemy territory or an enemy keep. Let's say you're in Cyrodiil and you roll up on a Daggerfall Covenant keep. You put on your Daggerfall Covenant disguise and you waltz into that keep and you won't get attacked unless you get like too close to, like, there's certain NPCs in the game they mention where there's like dogs or whatnot, or like hellhounds, and they mentioned, this is like old news that I read a long time ago, but if you walked your character too close to that hound, he'd be able to sniff you out and your disguise would fall off and then the NPCs would attack you. But if you avoid those guys, you can theoretically walk around an enemy keep and say to your guild, okay, there's 8 players hiding in here. They, you know, we only thought there was 4, but there's 4 more people. There's 4 healers waiting inside the keep or something like that. Then you waltz your ass out, take the disguise off, and join the fight.
Now, does the disguise change your face? Like, if I'm walking around with an orc with these huge teeth sticking out of my face, like,
I hope it doesn't change your face.
Oh, hello, chaps.
That would be some Mission Impossible 2 stuff.
I don't know.
Face. I hope it's not to that point. But I think, wouldn't that be funny if a player was walking by and he's Aldmeri Dominion, and he looks over and says hello to a guy in Aldmeri garb, but it's a big orc face. He's like, hello. And
I see
like,
a Khajiit tail sticking out of someone's guys.
Yeah,
You're like, wait a minute.
Swinging out. Like, I'm just gonna let it go. He looks legit. That's a great point. I think players would probably be able to pick it out. Now, if they can flag it or not, who knows? But I do know that they are gonna have disguises that.
That's funny.
Worked by.
Yeah. Okay, so
it's just a little interesting thing.
Yeah, it is. It is very interesting. Also, apparently, your mounts in Elder Scrolls Online can be fed. Now, what this changes? Apparently, it changes how they grow and how they behave, and that's really all we know on it right now. Now, how they grow, does that mean maybe your mount will have like abilities it can use? I think, and when I think of growing, I think of like, does it change into like a higher tier form, or like I don't know, can you get like a low level mount and then depending on what you feed it, it grows into a different level mount? I have no idea.
I don't know. I think that maybe if like you feed your mount certain food or something like that, maybe it'll grow so big that you can have a second player ride with you or something like that. Or if you feed it certain things, maybe it'll have 10% faster run speed or something by the time it becomes an adult. Or maybe if you buff it a certain way, it takes twice as many hits to knock you off your horse in combat, you know, to unmount you or something like that. I think it's going to be stats like that. I don't necessarily think that your mount's going to have its own skill bar and it shoots lightning out of its eyes.
No, I didn't mean like that. I think if it actually changed the appearance of it as you like, because it says growing, like the word grow was used. So
just a giant horse just trampling around Skyrim.
I don't know, like maybe like the appearance would slightly change as you grew your horse. I don't know. I have no idea. But that's kind of neat.
You know what'd be really cool? If you could go into a Dwemer ruin and there was Dwemer mounts, like, you know, like the Centurion, like robot things.
That would be cool.
Like, try to feed that, but it's just a machine, so it doesn't eat it and it doesn't work well. Yeah, that's the case. That was a side tangent. I'm gonna look outside now and let you fix what I just did. Anyway, but yeah.
You're planting poison in these listeners' minds. Just poison everywhere. No, but that's actually it's kind of neat, right? It's another added thing in that. I mean, we don't know how it's gonna work, but it's cool that they're thinking about stuff like that. Let's see what else do we have.
Yeah.
That's pretty much all I had. Oh, there's 4 PvP skill lines that you can unlock. I know they've announced before that there will be skill lines, but they didn't say how many, or I'm not sure. But now they have officially said
kinds?
that there are 4. Even? I don't know how I don't know how that's gonna work or what, but
PvP healing skill line, ranged PvP skill line, a melee PvP skill line, and then a tanky damage reduction skill line.
What about the stealthy?
I don't know. You're right. Who knows?
I know. We don't know how it's going to work.
Stealth skills in each of the... I don't know. Who knows? I have no idea.
It's cool,
I mean,
though.
how many skills are in each skill line? That's another thing we don't know.
It's just really neat, like the whole thought of skill lines or like different skill trees, skill lines, or you want to call it in general in Elder Scrolls Online. I mean, you have skill lines that you unlock through joining different like Thieves Guild, Mages Guild. So all that has its own skill lines, and then PvP has its own skill lines, which is pretty cool. Mm-hmm. I mean, I like the fact that you can do these different things that you don't actually have to do, but if you choose to do it, you get rewarded with different skill lines. So I thought that was pretty sweet.
Yeah.
It is cool.
I'm excited, man. It's gonna be crazy.
And every time we do another Elder Scrolls Online podcast, I just want to play now. Why can't I be in the closed beta?
I know. You know what? My roommates, Mr. Brian Hicks and Lou Doran, are at E3 right now, and they said they would do whatever it takes to get me beta codes. Multiple codes, so I could give some away, too.
Whatever it takes. Well, that's awesome. So let's hope they get something then. That's very cool.
They better, or they're not coming back home. I'll lock the doors, change the locks, sell Lou's car, I'll kidnap half of
Slide the beta codes under the door and I'll let you in.
Exactly.
No, that's very cool. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Do you have anything else you'd like to add to the podcast?
Well, we do have the question of the week, right?
I didn't actually get that prepared, but we will. What we need to do is we have, obviously my Twitter, Jordan's Twitter are both my Twitch and Jordan's Twitch. If you guys have specific questions, I know we often see the questions in the chat that are going by and we try to touch on them and whatnot, but if you want it to be more of a specific topic we discuss in one of the podcasts, send it to us on our Twitter or Twitch messages. That way we can add it in and whatnot. We will start doing the developer questions, the ZeniMax developer questions of the week. I think they have the developer questions once a week from what I can see. This past week's one was kind of a mess, so I skipped it and I didn't actually add the video in or anything. So maybe next week we'll do a developer question of the week, but I didn't add it in. So
Here's a ESO, the ESO podcast question of the week. If we're playing in Cyrodiil and you were in Deagen and my guild, and we're all playing and PvPing really, really hard, and Deagen and myself both saw ourselves at the foot of the throne in the Imperial City, who would you crown Emperor? Me or Deagen? And don't say Deagen. That's the question of the week. I'll let you guys think about it.
That's a loaded question. If they can't say me, then they have to say nothing, because they obviously wouldn't choose you. Your face. Classic.
Deagen better than me.
That is a wonderful question. We should set up a poll on our Facebooks, and that way, when it does come down to it, we know beforehand, so there's no guild bloodshed.
See, look, I'd pick Soma. He would do dirty shit as Emperor. See? And then a bunch of people are saying that they would just kill us both. And then just be the... Oh, ooh, there you go. There's a vote for you because you have a more manly beard. That's
so
true.
it's one side 1-1 right now. So maybe we'll have to...
This is an empire. Why are we voting? This is retarded. What was I thinking?
I mean, you know what? Basically, it comes down to who's ever stronger, right? So, and well, I lift. So.
Oh. Okay, Deagen.
No,
I lift, bro.
No, we'll see. Honestly, it'll be funny. Like, something we talked about in past podcasts as far as how cool it is that an actual emperor gets to be crowned through PvP. And we don't know what it entails, what how it happens, but the fact that somebody is actually given the title of emperor is pretty awesome. So, we'll see. We'll see.
Dude. Well,
all right.
What else? Is there anything else to talk about, or is that about wrap it up for this week?
I think
I guess
about
next
wraps
week is
it
going to
up.
be a beefy episode.
Yeah, next week we'll be going over all the stuff that was revealed at E3 and a couple other things we find over the interwebs over this next week. So, again, if you guys have something that either you want answered right now, or something that you see this past week or this next week that sparks a question in your minds, just put it on our Twitter at DeagenTV or at JordanTHD, and we will be sure to add it in to the podcast.
Absolutely.
But that is it for now. Thank you guys for watching. We hope you enjoyed this installment of the Elder Scrolls Online podcast. This was our third one.
Anyone that hasn't seen the first episode, I will go ahead and link episode 1 into the chat. For anyone that's here that hasn't seen episode 1, go ahead, go back to the beginning. Come on this epic trilogy adventure with us and watch all 3.
Yes.
There's the link. All right.
And now the only thing we need to do is figure out how to get the file to Soma through the interwebs, which we've been struggling with. We won't make it.
That's a different podcast.
That is a different podcast. But thank you guys for watching. We appreciate you, and we will see you next week.
Dudes.
There you guys.